Hi, Miguel. Very welcome to this interview. Thanks a lot that you took your time for this interview, that you teach a little bit about your experience. And I met recently Miguel, and I was impressed. Like, to give a little shortcut there, Miguel, he's 21 years old, and he comes from a very, like, let's say, decent place, and now is selling for millions of dollars. He's Colombian, and I'm very happy to meet you here and make an interview with you. Maybe you can shortly introduce yourself for the people.
Yeah, 100%. I appreciate the introduction, first of all. And yeah, I'm Miguel. I'm in high ticket sales. Like, that's my main thing. That's my main industry. I've sold $2 million in the last 2 years, cash collected, which is not revenues, like cash, like money that we collected, and selling multiple transformational, like mentorships, like business infrastructures, B2C, B2B, you name it. And I'm currently training sales teams all over the US and Europe as well.
Okay, that sounds impressive. So I'm very curious now. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about your background? How does a 21-year-old Colombian come to educate US people for selling? And you were selling like over 2 millions. Maybe before telling us that, please tell us something about your background.
Yeah. I mean, I come from a very humble place. Nothing was given to me. Like, I come from the hood
Yeah.
in Colombia, but I always consider myself an introvert. And I started just playing video games. I learned English playing Fortnite, which is funny for a lot of people, but that's true. I learned English playing Fortnite. And I started getting into online business, just after getting a little bit of bully in high school. I got bullied, and I resented people for a long time, but I basically used that pain as transformation, as push, so that I can actually, like, eventually make something of myself, so I can be proud of me.
So
That's how we started.
I just have to ask back because that sounds like something not unbelievable. You say you're coming from a very decent place. You're Colombian, um, and you you learned English by yourself.
Yeah.
You teach it to yourself, and you were bullied. So you were like having like really, you would say, from an outstanding person who doesn't know you, it would look like something like impossible to achieve, to gain some millions of dollars with that. You're 21 years old, right?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you can tell us what changed. What you're doing different than others?
I think I was just self-conscious, and I'm delusional.
So
You know?
one question. You said you were self-conscious, but you said you were bullied. This is like I was bullied myself. To be really honest, I was like beaten in the face when I was a little child, and it was hard. Yeah, I didn't feel self-consciousness at all.
I understood that these people did that for validation, or because they were kind of dumb in a sense. And I don't say that from an ego perspective. I actually forgave them. I completely forgave them from the bottom of my heart. I don't hold any grudges against them. But I was self-conscious. Like, I understood why they did it, and I understood that that was going to be temporary. And it was very painful, though. It was really, really painful. But I feel alienated in a way. I feel like I didn't fit in at all. So that's why I started getting into different places, trying online business, and really just trying out opportunities, like taking risk, like being uncomfortable.
Okay, that sounds like the typical success story. How often did you fail? Hand to the heart. How often did you fail?
I failed at trading. I failed dropshipping. I failed Amazon FBA. I failed SMMA. And even high ticket sales at first, like the first 3 to 4 months. Horrible, horrible. No, I didn't land it a client. I didn't land it nothing. Like, I was literally eating rice and spaghetti mixed. And I was like almost starving because I didn't have money. I didn't have shit, right? But I think it just got to a point where after you try so many times, that persistence is gonna be rewarded, in a sense.
So what made you like keep going on? I mean, like barely having enough money to buy yourself food. That's
Yeah.
like from my perspective as a European, like an amazing story. To be really honest, I respect that a lot.
Yeah.
But it's hard to imagine that for myself. What made you like going on so much? What was your drive behind it?
I think it was just I didn't have any other option. Like again, I understood that if I applied for jobs here in Colombia, I was gonna get $400 a month, $600 a month, and I'm seeing my mom struggle, and my dad, and really just like it clicked to me like if I don't do something different, I'm not really gonna enjoy my life. So it's either I do this or I die, and it was literally the die or do situation for me. There was no in between. There was no balance. Either I became successful or I die. It's literally how determined I was and I am at that point.
All right, so that sounds amazing, but at the same time, if you say you had no other chance, I don't believe you. Because there are so many other people, other Colombians, who are in the same situation. They have the same chance, but they don't take it. So, what would your advice be to all those who are now watching, who will maybe they see Miguel and they want to be like you? What do they need? What do they need to understand, or what do you want to
Yeah.
give them as a present of yours to help them out?
I think it just comes down to being delusional, first of all, like having insane self belief in yourself, because that's not something you can really be taught. Like, if you really believe in yourself, like bad enough, you're going to try absolutely everything you can. But if I can inspire some people, it's like don't listen to people around you, don't let influence from your parents, because like some parents they have good intention, don't get me wrong, but their experience and their knowledge is not always aligned with your goals as their son. So don't listen to anybody but yourself. Like be your true self, respect your true self, love your true self, and actually take action based on the things that you really want to do. But have a lot of urgency though. Like you need urgency to actually make it happen.
All right. So it's all about sometimes also in German we say die Zähne zusammenbeißen, which means something like um, sometimes you have to go through a hard time. Yeah, stay tough. Um, so I guess this is also something you recommend to men, especially, right? Not only to like
Yeah.
this is a man thing probably to be. So that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Then there is something else. So, what would you say? Because it's something special. Please tell me, how does that work? You're not only selling high tickets, like high tickets for millions of dollars,
Yeah.
like you're also educating people to sell. What makes you special? Maybe to specify it a little bit. It sounds like it's not normal that a 20-year-old Colombian guy teaches US American citizens how to sell. So let me say it like that. What makes you special?
Okay, I understand
Yeah.
now. Yeah. I think it's just like being charismatic, and it's something we talked about like earlier, but I feel like we Colombians like we have a lot of charisma, and I teach that to my students from the U.S. and Europe. Like I just tell them like, hey, let be human. Like, don't get into the call or the meeting thinking I'm gonna make $1 out of this person as a transaction, as a business relationship. Like, go into the call with the actual self belief that you're gonna help them, and if they pay, that's good. You know, it's like you get benefit from it. But if they don't pay, it's like their loss. So you don't really lost anything because you actually help them.
That's super interesting. And
Yeah.
it sounds something like you're helping US citizens to learn something, let's say Latin, right? Something charismatic, something are born with, something you're like, something you have they don't have. And maybe because people are listening and they are now asking, okay, what can I take out of this? Because this is human, you know?
Yeah.
Like we all want to learn. Would you be so kind to share like one or two gold nuggets for us? Something we can take away right now to be more Latin, charismatic.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a misconception. I wasn't born this way. Like I learned this and I learned how to be this way through my experiences, through exposure, through exposing myself to hard circumstances, to uncomfortable situations. And a lot of people, they are too comfortable. They kind of live on a bubble. They don't want to go out their way and really try hard things. When you put yourself in a position where you're very uncomfortable and it's painful, it's sad, like that's gonna bring transformation. And that's really like something I'll suggest everyone to go through. If you are a man and everything is handed to you, you're never willing to go through pain, you're never really gonna grow. You're stagnant. And the worst thing about that is that you think you're doing fine, but it's like you're not really aligned. No, you're not coherent with the version that you know you can be. Basically, that will be the first gold nugget. And the second gold nugget is like if I'm Colombian, I wasn't born speaking English, and I sold $2 million, and you're watching this from the U.S. or Europe, you absolutely can as well. You know,
Yeah.
it's like if I can like coming from the hood also, no handouts, with like the bare minimum internet, with a laptop that was like $70, with a shitty camera, like you see all of those things, and everything comes down to hard work and ethic, you know.
So what you just say, don't be so pussy.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, all right,
Right.
cool. So we were having this very interesting conversation before when we were having coffee.
Yeah.
So maybe we can just take out the gold nuggets from that conversation we were talking about. The let's see if I can reconstruct it correctly about what Europeans or people from the United States they can learn from Latin Americans, and as well what can Latin Americans learn from people from there. So because we were talking about this somehow that the best would be to take the best out of both cultures
Yeah.
and to combine it to be extremely successful.
100%.
And you're the best example for this. So probably we can reconstruct what we found out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think one thing that Latin Americans can get from Europeans, because Europeans and Americans in general, they have a lot of good things, and one of those things is like the fact that they are not scared of like growth, in a sense. Like they are not scared of like traveling. They are not scared. They have limiting beliefs, but it's not as big as like Latin Americans, because Latin Americans they have a lot of victim mentality. You know, they think the world, the world leaders, their president, their mayor, is like at fault because they don't have money, because they cannot eat food, and you know, at a certain point it's true, but you can also have self accountability and realize that you can change certain things, and on the long run you can change a lot of things, but everything comes down to you at the end of the day. And for Europeans, I think they are too comfortable, and Americans they are too comfortable. They're stagnant in their own reality, and they think that somehow, like the people that are successful are lucky somehow, but they don't realize that the most successful people are the ones that went through the most amount of pain. And it's not a secret. Again, we talked about this, but Mexicans or Latin Americans, when they go into the U.S., for example, or Europe,
Yeah.
they outperform Americans and Europeans. Why? Because they have a lot of hunger, survival, pain, and you cannot compete with that.
Yeah.
So, if you're not putting yourself
Yeah.
in like those kind of situations,
Yeah.
you cannot grow.
Yeah. Okay, I have two more questions about that. This is, first of all, this is super interesting. because I always observe this as well. Like a lot of, at least I know my people from Germany. Some of them are good workers, but some of them are also some kind of okay. I go home, I switch on the television, and things are somehow coming to me by itself. In the meantime, I see a lot of Latin Americans who really like they, like they go through the heart.
Yeah.
All right. I have another question. It's more like a charisma thing. Like, this is something I'm observing here when I'm in Medellin,
Yeah.
in Colombia. I'm from Germany, and people are there somehow, sometimes, like a bit cold. Not everyone, but it's like, and it's very different when I go around here in the streets. Like people, they look me in the eyes and they're smiling. They're really like,
Yeah.
this is something. Wow, I feel so comfortable. I feel so welcomed. Can you maybe share a little bit of what does it make that? And also like United States people. You have friends from Germany as well. You told me before. What is the main difference? What is your like Latin American secret here?
Yeah. I think it's just like culture, perhaps. Like that's one thing. Like we were grown in a culture where your mom is like, you gotta say hi, you gotta say please, you gotta say goodbye, and if you don't do it, it's like you're being uneducated, and it's a bad thing.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like maybe in Europe, like they don't really care like somehow sometimes. Mm, but here it's just like warm. You feel good when you do that for other people because they feel good as well, and it's like reciprocated. And if you bring that into professional areas, like that's gonna help you a lot. Like that's gonna help you sell a lot. But even on personal, like when you talk to a girl, like who's she gonna go with? The guy that's like silent, like shy, or the guy that's super serious, uninteresting, or the guy that's like bright, like smiling, funny, joking. He doesn't have to be attractive,
Yeah.
but it's his energy. Like you need to have a lot of energy in yourself to actually get whatever you want in life.
That's super funny because
Yeah.
Miguel just told us some dating advices for all the Germans and
Yeah.
European and US
Yeah.
guys who are looking at this now. They might be smiling because
Yeah.
you see, like, at least I know this from Germany. If there is a Latin American guy walking around the streets, the girls, they look at him and they know they get this kind of energy, and that's exactly what you're telling us here. So maybe you can drop one gold nugget for us. Can also be a dating advice, whatever it is. Like
Yeah.
just out of that.
Yeah, this is very funny. So basically, I went to Spain like 2 years ago. Like I went last year as well, but 2 years ago I actually just went to the club with a friend from Mexico. We were traveling together, and I just started dancing, like enjoying myself. No, I didn't care, and I had this energy like I don't need anybody to pay attention to me. I'm doing it for myself.
Yeah.
But I'm charismatic. Like I'm enjoying myself. I'm not looking for validation. And then the girls just start looking at you, like they start dancing with you, and somehow I feel like Europeans, they don't really like, most of them, okay, I don't want to generalize, but like some of them are not like trying, they're not really like being themselves, because you're a funny guy,
Yeah.
but if you're not your true self and you're serious, they are not gonna know.
Yeah.
So you gotta show the world, not because you want to show them, but you gotta be true to yourself.
Yeah.
Like let go of that constraint of being like a fear of judgment.
So basically, what you're saying, just be yourself, guys. Yeah.
exactly.
Wow. Thanks a lot. So last question now, and it's not a real question; it's more a freestyle question.
Okay.
So this is a question like for everyone who's watching now. It's a question for the next generation of leaders, of men who are having impact in this world.
Okay.
It's your gift for the world, actually. What would you give us a recommendation for the next generation of leaders, of men, for men?
I think just make sure that whatever you do in life, you do it because you genuinely want to do so, not because anybody told you to do it. So there are people that I know that want to be doctors or lawyers because they want to make money. But how is that congruent? If you want to make money, be an entrepreneur. And you're going to impact more people, you're going to be more satisfied, you're going to be more fulfilled. And the same thing goes both ways. If you want to help people, then don't go and become a lawyer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like become a doctor, like voluntary work, like find fulfillment in another way. But whatever you do in life, if you're true to yourself, which again I'm mentioning it a couple times, like you're gonna absolutely smash it. Like you're gonna be the best one at it because nobody can outcompete somebody that is actually genuinely doing something because they like it basically.
That's very, that sounds like pure wisdom, to be honest. Thanks a lot. That was my last question. So this was Miguel, like probably the most interesting 20-year-old one I ever met, to be really honest. Like, you know that there is coming a lot of wisdom. You don't look like 20 years old, by the way. And I think you can like really influence a lot of people who are maybe watching right now. If one of you guys is just watching, getting one advice out of it, just take it and execute it because his life story is talking by itself. Thank you, Miguel. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Sure.
Nice.
Yeah.